Anyone who's gainfully employed is preoccupied, always thinking about what could they do to maximize their income, to make another buck, to work just as hard and yet bring in more money. That's why people go to work, to make money. And if there's anything we could do to be more successful at that, we're thinking, what is it that we can do? But certainly nobody would do something to sabotage their income or to do something to the detriment of the money that they make. It has to be the same way in the spiritual world. And in the spiritual world, the same way in the physical world, we have tools of the trade, and we have to make sure the tools are in best working order to produce the best merchandise in order to garner the most income. Our spiritual tools also have to be preserved in the best possible way. The Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos, the world stands on the learning of young children. Ein ha'olam eskayim ella b'shvel hevel pm shel tinoka shel beis rabban. It's the learning of young children that uphold the world. So the Gemara says, Rav Papa said to Abaye, that's very nice, but our learning, mine and yours, Rav Papa says to Abaye, far surpass the learning of the children. It's on a completely different stratosphere. So probably our learning upholds the whole universe. And Abai said, no, not really. Because you can't compare the learning that is accomplished with a mouth that does not have the detriment of sin to learning that's accomplished with a mouth that is sullied by sin. And therefore Rav Papa says, therefore Abai says to Rav Papa, our learning is not the same as the learning of the children. So says the Chavetz Chaim, let's analyze this for a moment. Abaye is saying to Rav Papa that their learning is not as good as the learning of children because their mouth is sullied with sin. What kind of sin do you think Rav Papa and Abaye's mouths were sullied with? They never actually spoke real Lashon Hara. If they ever said something, it was probably on a microscopic level of impropriety. And even if that happened unintentionally, they probably did tshuva right away. So compared to the pure mouths of little children, maybe their mouths have been downgraded just a little bit. But in terms of what level of learning they were on, their level of learning was light years ahead of the learning of children. Nevertheless, says the Chafetz Chaim, from here we learn that the critical ingredient in the spiritual power and capacity a person has, more than anything else, is dependent on their purity of speech. Because your mouth is your tool of trade. Your mouth is the vehicle with which you say words of Torah, that you say words of tefillah. And your spiritual capacity then is more dependent on your purity of speech than any other ingredient. And therefore, how careful we have to be, because how important it is to us that in our lifetime we try to accomplish significant learning, significant tefillah. All of our wishes are dependent on our tefillah. And the power of our learning and the power of our tefillah is dependent more than anything else on how careful we are with the words that we say. And if we indeed guard our mouth like we would guard our factories, or if somebody is a dentist, the tools that he uses, or if someone's a surgeon, the tools that he uses, the same way if you're a diamond dealer, how careful we are with our tools, or the more so how careful we have to be with the tools of our spiritual trade, and that is our mouths. One of the most important responsibilities we have in this world is to guard the tools of our spiritual craft, and that is our mouth. And if we're able to do that, we will have great blessing and success. Wishing everyone bracha v'hatzlacha.